the newer model.
Screen.
Ryan Webb donated $2. Is Bloho like Frank going more towards plants? Let me see.
Hey,
Me eating plant-based does not mean bro diets are ineffective. That's interesting. Okay, we'll watch that. How much more time do we have? Let's take a break from the Frank vid, watch Bloho. Also, new compilation, lol.
I will fucking end you. I have worked as
Okay, we'll watch that Bloho compilation. Thanks for the donation, Ryan Webb.
everybody. It's Jason Blaha here, and I thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Sipping my water, my Sonic Cherry Limeade, my sugar-free, high aspartame stuff. So this is kind of a response to some of the comments I get to different ideas when I'm discussing things. And I think what a lot of people don't get is just because I'm working with an idea, I'm looking at research on something, or I'm utilizing one variable, doesn't mean that I reject or don't even use those other variables with clients, or that I don't think that other things work. And I think this is because so many people get caught up in very dogmatic black and white thinking that it's hard for them to grasp that a person can say X, Y, and Z all work. There can be advantages and disadvantages to each one of those things. And then maybe this over here, Q or P or whatever, maybe not so good, right? And I think that's a lot for people to grasp. And I'll give you a couple things that we've talked about recently. Training volumes, training style, training for strength, training for aesthetics, plant-based diets, all this stuff. Okay. Great one to talk about right off the bat. You know, someone has said, hey, I thought you said bro diets and these...
That's a good heckin' catto. Thanks for the donation, Oatgoat.
These high-protein bro diets can work really well for body composition, bodybuilding. Are you rejecting that now, since you're messing with mostly plant-based? And I'm like, no, of course not. So, I mean, here should be common sense. Have bro diets very successfully worked for body composition and bodybuilding purposes for decades? Yes. Do they have an extremely high track record of success? Yes. Are they easy to do? Yes. None of that changes. Things that
What's Prismo doing? Thanks for the donation, Dodo.
I'm talking about with loading more plants, number one, there's more nuance. It's actually a little harder to make it work because you have to focus a lot more on protein intake. Okay, it's actually
You do not. There are plenty of high-protein plant foods.
not as easy. Number two, when we're dealing with it, what else? Considerations. I am not necessarily telling anyone that, hey, if you're trying to comprise the overwhelming majority of your calories from these whole food plants, because again, I'm not talking about, I nowhere said vegan diets, I said a whole foods plant-based, which is what, even Alexander Leonidas was talking about. It's the same thing. We're talking about getting as many antioxidants, phytonutrients, and things like that as we can in our diet and cutting out things that could have potential negatives to our health. Meaning, what are we cutting out? We're
Blaha is going completely on a plant-based diet? Really? This is funny. I wonder if he's just watching my content. So, like, I know he is. I know he's watching my live streams because he made a fucking community post about me, about shit I said about him on my live stream. That is fucking hilarious. He must be seeing that I'm stronger than him and shit, and he's like, maybe I'll try his diet. That's funny.
trimming saturated fat down, trimming down refined sugars, all that stuff.
Oh my god.
And choosing to be in favor of loading as many antioxidants, phytonutrients, things like that as we can into our diet for health purposes, living longer, reducing cancers, reducing cardiovascular disease. That is what we're talking about. There is no conflict. There is no conflicting statement here. Does that make sense? None of that has anything to do with saying, hey, a chicken, broccoli, and brown rice bodybuilder diet doesn't work. Of course it works.
Like, it wasn't even too long ago. It had to have been, like, just a few months that he was saying, like, a vegan diet is deficient and shit, and, like, what was he saying? It's an eating disorder or something? Um, like, and now here's the flip flop.
It is self-evident that it works because you guys have seen it demonstrated for decades extremely successfully for people in the pursuit of body composition as a primary.
Oh my god. Thanks for that donation, Grand Dam. Ryan Webb donated $2. I wonder if he'll delete this vid, lol.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. You guys know what time it is? Time to talk about current events.
Oh yeah, I remember this. Vegan Gains deadlifts 315 by 6. Yeah, he's talked a lot of shit. Well, yeah, who's fucking outlifting who now? Well, thanks for the donation. Oh no, wait, there's two. Also,
Incline reps, I'm not going to lie, here and there a rep every now and then.
is he only doing 135? What? Yeah, I think he's literally only doing 135.
I did not touch my chest. But I'm like, let me try the same thing here and try to just get that deep stretch. I'm wanting to get the stretch reflex.
Oh my god, he's so weak. Oh, this is hilarious, dude. Like, after Blaha talks so much shit about me, like, not training, being weak and crap, and, like, he can't even fucking lift. What the fuck? And then his only response to me is, I'm 47.
All right.
This isn't a warm-up. This is his working set.
Good. Same thing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty hilarious. Thanks for that donation, though, Cat Killer.
That is very easy. That is the easy mode cheat code almost to body composition, right? It really is. But what we're talking about over here is maximizing gut health, maximizing antioxidant status, those sort of things. It's not the same topic, different tools, okay? We're talking fitness, not aesthetics at that point, okay? Same thing when it comes to training. Do I still coach powerlifters? Yes. Do I coach people who have aesthetics as a primary? Yes. These are not conflicts. And I'm allowed to change what I'm doing with my training too. The same thing, people are like, man, so do you not have any clients who do lower trainings, lower volume training, like 10 or 12 sets? I'm like, I have a ton of clients who do. Why? Because their lifestyles and their time commitment do not allow for the other. Okay? That's some things to think about. The really high volumes of training are for people whose lifestyles can accommodate it. I don't think everyone's lifestyle can accommodate that. And particularly the sort of people who will pay my coaching rates. These are oftentimes fairly busy people who don't have time to manage a lot of other things. They need me to do their thinking for them. This is why they hire a coach. They're busy. Think about, again, who would be hiring someone as a coach? Someone who has the financial resources that it's not as big of a deal for them.
His coaching is only like $200 for every like 2 months or something. So you don't have to be rich to get Blaha's coaching.
Number two, they don't have the time to cover all the nuance of their programming. So therefore, they may not have the time to maximize their recovery, to work out 2 or 3 hours at a time. 2-hour workouts are out for them. It's not happening. Okay? Understand that difference. But so the same thing with conjugate. People are like, well, you're not doing conjugate. Do you not support it? Michelle's vlogs come up every week. She does conjugate. So therein lay your answer. You are allowed to program the variables of what you're doing based around your current goals, lifestyles, and needs. And because different things do not match up doesn't mean that they're right or wrong, or you don't support them or don't.
You go to $8. If you found out that hypothetically Prisma was sneaking out of your apartment somehow and killing things every day, would you kill him? No, I'd just stop him from sneaking out. What if it was impossible to prevent? Would you kill him then? Sure, I guess I would. Thanks for that donation, Fugo.
See a use for these tools, okay? And I think that's a point that we need to be clear on. And I think what people will figure out, it's not flip-flops, is that I'm not dogmatic. I am willing to step back and say what is the right tool for any given job. Okay, instead of saying, and here's the problem, and this is an expression a lot of people know. If the only tool that you have is a hammer, everything starts to look like a nail. What I am saying with a lot of this is that as a coach, as an educator, as an influencer, I am trying to look at the different tools for different jobs and say, hey, what is the best tool that I need to use here? Do I need to be using a screwdriver? Do I need to be using a hammer? Do I need to be using a CNC machine? Okay. What is the correct tool for the correct application for the job? And when you're doing that to the person who doesn't understand what you were saying with that, it will create confusion. They'll think they see you using a screwdriver to better than. Yes, for hammering nails. A screwdriver, cylinder heads for a I'm definitely not using a hammer. We understand? Hopefully that makes sense for people.
So he's actually eating a plant-based diet now. That's fucking hilarious, dude.